No. All right, we're live. I'm just trying to get these camera angles and all these connections. All right. Let's see if I could pop this up over here. Sorry, y'all. All right. This is funny, trying to fit in like all the angles.
Oh. Maybe if I need to flip.
Mm-hmm. All right, there we go. All right. Yeah, we got the surround angles going on. All right. We'll give a little time for some people to jump on here. Yeah, that's the difficult with this one. I think if I'm right here, that's the sweet spot.
Yes.
All right. All right. Got the Branded Geek shirt.
Hey, G-Ma.
Represent.
G-Ma's on that live today.
G-Ma's on the live. Welcome
G-Ma.
to the live, G-Ma. G-Ma's like, hey, you know, I'm saying comment. I'm like, G-Ma, it ended a couple of minutes ago. So good to have you on live. We'll give a few minutes for people to come in. Got some awesome stuff to talk about today, as always.
Happy Wednesday. Do you need your glasses for the live today?
I think I'm fine. I do need to do something really quick.
Give us just a few seconds.
Yeah.
We are just giving a few seconds. Hey, G-Ma. Oh, she said thank you. Thank you for joining us today live, G-Ma.
Yes. All right. So we're going to talk about, you guys seen the title. We're going to be talking about renting or owning your website.
Yeah. First off, how are you all doing today? Happy Wednesday.
Yeah. Happy Wednesday.
Here another week.
Oh
my gosh. And as you all can see, we have the Branded Geeks apparel on.
Trying to represent.
Yes. We hope you all have been having a wonderful week. I know we've had been having
a lot going on.
A lot going on, you know. Busy but productive.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah. You want to talk about this weekend a little bit, or
what's this weekend?
The past weekend.
Oh, this past weekend.
Sorry.
Well,
yeah.
We traveled to Atlanta with one of our best friends. She launched her book. Her name is Felicia Siobhan White Ellison.
It's a whole mood.
Yes. Yeah. It's called It's a Whole Mood, The Art of Unpacking. And I'm supposed to know. And he's the one that designed the cover of the book. Yeah, the Branded Geeks. He designed the cover of her book. But go check it out. Her name is Felicia Siobhan.
Yeah, definitely go check it out.
It's a whole mood. But anyway, yeah, we went to Atlanta to go to basically just to support and help her out at her book tour in Atlanta. She did a book reading on Friday, and then on Saturday, there was another author event. So that was very exciting. And always exciting to step away from, town and get away.
Norm, yeah.
So that was good.
So we want to dive right in. As you guys know, we have kids. So one of our kids is having a moment. So I'm gonna let Kim go.
Yes, give me just 1 moment.
So he's having a moment, guys. So I'll get started while she's away, and she'll jump in, and she obviously has some points as well. She's Tim the Geek. She likes to drop some relevant perspective. So we're talking about renting or owning your website. Okay, I don't like the light on this one here. Sorry, man. I'm an artist, right? So I'm just like catching the angles and stuff. I'm trying to make sure we're good, but I think we're good. But we're talking about renting or owning your website, right? And a lot of you may not even know that this is a thing, but in the design world, it is absolutely a thing. And what I mean by that is do you have a customized website or a website that has some sort of CMS associated with it, where you actually own the files for the website, that if anything goes wrong with the provider, and that provider could be anywhere from GoDaddy to Bluehost to HostGator, the list goes on. If anything goes wrong with the provider, do you have the ability to take those files, save them on your personal computer or personal hard drive, and still have access to your website that you spent months building or even spent thousands of dollars investing in, right? So that's a big difference between owning your website and owning your files and renting. Now, renting is a lot of times is in the most recent days, it's become the more popular thing to do. So what I mean by that, it's the Wix.coms of the world. It's the Shopify. It's the Squarespace, right? And we believe, you know, and the list goes on, right? There's a lot of them popping up monthly, right? And I'm not downplaying these options at all. These are very strong startup options in a lot of regards, and even, you know, depending on your business model, you may not even need to go beyond that. You know, some people don't need all the bells and whistles, so to speak, for websites. So you may not need to expand anything. You may not have to have it as much customizations, if you will, depending on the space that you're in. So I'm by no means dogging those options, but what happens with those is, you know, just like having your whole business ran on social media, if anything ever happens to that platform, you're in a tough spot because you lose control, you lose access to all of the things that you've invested in that platform. So, i.e. Shopify and Squarespace, I said it right. Squarespace, those options, you know, although they make the barrier to entry a little easier, you know, you are at their disposal. Yeah, you know, if something goes wrong, they say, you know, we're out of business. You know, in some instances, you may not even be able to get your files back. So we're going to talk about that really quick. But I just wanted to make a dichotomy of the two options, right? So, sorry.
Interrupted.
So let's talk about renting, right? Let's talk about a scenario where you're renting, and let's kind of get into this whole analogy of websites compared to the real estate market. If you've worked with a professional web designer, you may see them use the analogy comparing, you know, websites and having a space online to how you actually purchase a home or rent a home, right? So let's start with the domain. So the domain is your URL, it's your web address, it's the address to where you can be located on the World Wide Web, right? So I'm not going to go into the deep, you know, how the internet got started and all that stuff. We're not doing that today, right? But what we're going to do is we're going to talk about, you know, what a domain is, you know, what hosting is. We're going to get into all of those things, and then that should give us a better understanding of what renting is and what hosting is. So with your domain, it's your address, right? It's where you can be found on the World Wide Web, right? Now, when you have a domain, you have options. You can set up a scenario where you have hosting that you own, or you can go the renting option where you take that domain and you point it to a website that you build on, i.e. Squarespace, Shopify, Wix, and so on and so forth. Okay. Now, let's just go down the lane of renting. When you rent, just like in real life, when you stay in a rental situation,
like a rental home,
or rent, more so for this analogy, a complex, right? So apartments, there we go. So you stay in apartments. It's really convenient for you if you are an individual who you don't care to even keep up a line. You know, you don't want to have to worry about maintenance. You want to be able to have a maintenance crew that's already associated with the price. There's amenities. Now, remember that word. There's amenities that come with the apartment that draw you there and makes you want to stay there. You know, they might have pools, gym, you know, access to a business center, you know, where you can use computers, and the list goes on. So just like an apartment complex, Wix and Shopify and Squarespace, they give you that same experience. So it's made for the masses. It's going to come with a lot of add-on features and different things to really get you up and running right away. A lot of times they're going to advertise to you that you don't have to know a lick of code, right? You might have saw it. You may not. It says, oh, build your whole site and not worry about having to learn how to code, which is, for a lot of us, it's a draw because, who wants to go back to school and learn how to code just to build your website when you're a dentist, or when you're a lawyer or a coach, business coach or a life coach, right? So, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? They make it advantageous. They make it advantageous for you to actually want to do it because, you get a chance to get your website up and running and you get to focus on your business. Now, so those are some of the pros, right? The pros of having a Wix or Shopify or Squarespace type of situation. You get all of these features out of the box. So let's take Shopify, for example. If you're building a store, you're selling anything from hair to clothing to mugs, t-shirts, whatever have you. Shopify is really powerful because it gives you a lot of these add-on companies that can give you the ability to do everything from print on demand to email marketing. Like let's say if someone abandons your cart, they're about to buy your product and they go and get caught up in something else. There's add-ons that you can incorporate with your website to actually reach out to those individuals via your email marketing, right? They have all kind of shipping options that you can connect with different companies to do direct shipping, and I could just keep going on and on. Now, and then the same thing with Wix. Wix has a little bit of it, and then Squarespace has an e-commerce solution where they have add-ons as well. And then all of these solutions, they integrate with different tools like your email marketing tool. What are some other things that you might have an add-on with for your website? Analytics, right? Now the good thing about those, speaking of amenities, apartment amenities, all of the Wix, the Shopify, and the Squarespace, they have their own analytics. So it's really cool, and it gets you going. Now, some of the drawbacks is the thing I started to rant on about at the beginning, which is you don't have access to your files. You basically have templates that you use there. You can manipulate them if you're able to get with a professional like myself. I do build Squarespace and mainly Shopify. I don't really do Squarespace anymore because I push clients to the owning option.
Definitely.
And definitely, you notice I didn't mention Wix, so we're not even going to talk about that. But so some of the drawbacks, so I don't just babble on forever. Some of the drawbacks, you obviously don't own your files. You upload them there, but if anything goes wrong, or if you ever stop paying, this is very key. If you stop paying your plan with any of those rental companies, rental hosting plans, then you're done. They shut you down like ASAP. There's no wiggle around. There's no way to wiggle around that. Now, granted, on the owning aspect, when you're paying for hosting, you still have those same limitations. But very much more so on the Shopify and the Squarespace options. Okay.
You still have all your files and stuff though.
With what? Yeah. And we'll get into that in a few seconds. But yeah, you still have your files, and you're still able to have control over getting your site back up, and not having to work with that company. And then all of the things you built is proprietary. So that's another keyword. A lot of things that you're doing with the Shopify or the Squarespace is proprietary to their system. So it doesn't translate over. You can't say, oh, well, I built it over here. Let me just save it and then transport it over to this other platform. They're proprietary to their own system. Shout out to Litbird. Congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Yeah. I'm glad you're on here, man. Anyway, so that's one of the drawbacks. Another thing you have, that's the issue, and it's major for designers like myself, is limitation on customization, right?
Yeah.
So, as a designer, sometimes I get clients and they're like, okay, I want my site to look like, let's say if I got a cosmetics client, I want my site to look like MAC. I want my site to look like all these major brands. Well, when you choose a rental website option, then you're limited to the tools that they have there. You're limited to the themes that they allow that has been built there, or or that comes out the box.
Mm-hmm.
So you're limited in customization. You don't have the ability to own your own files, and and it's not as flexible. So while you'll have with Shopify and with Squarespace, while you have a lot of add-ons that may give you expanded functionality, it's still limited to those few options. It's not a litany of options. And then the last thing is it can get quite expensive, surprisingly. So with the loaning option, there's a lot of upfront costs that normally scare people away from that. There's upfront costs, and there's upfront a learning curve, right? There's a learning curve upfront. However, so with that, you normally say, okay, it's too expensive. Let me go to the route of the renting. Mm-hmm. Now, the little hidden piece on that is, over time, you're paying your monthly fee to stay on that platform. But then also, when you start to add on all of these add-on features, you slowly creep up in your expenses. When you add on the shipping add-on in Shopify, you add on the print on demand, you add on the email marketing, this and that, and the cart abandonment, and then the CRM integration. You start adding all these pieces, that starts to get very expensive. Then you look at it from a yearly standpoint. While you could have paid up front and got all of this stuff done for you,
your own personal designer.
Yeah, you end up starting to kick out and spend out just as much money. So that's my long rant on renting. Now owning isn't perfect either, right? So I'm not gonna just make it tee it up like it's perfect, but it does give you the level of flexibility. And what's the owning situation looks like? Well, the most just like in the real estate industry, right? You can custom build your home, right? Or you can get a home built for you. You could get a home built in a development one. Right. So the same scenario, right? So obviously the most custom version of owning is having someone literally sit down with you, literally design every page for your website, and then literally code it from scratch. That's going to be your most customized option, where you have complete control over everything. Mm-hmm. Now, while it is great, I don't recommend for someone starting out, because you will incur a lot of costs to get that done, first of all. And second of all, there's just too many tools out here, so you don't have to do that. I recommend the renting option, and then you migrate to an owner option. But the other piece is it's going to be so custom and so proprietary for your personal system that you're going to need whoever that designer or developer, you're going to need them at every step of the way. You won't be able to do anything by yourself, because it's going to get so specialized.
And a lot of times, like the average person, when they're starting off in their business endeavor, like they don't know the details like that to like tell the designer like this is what they want. So renting might be in their advantage starting out.
Yeah, just to get a feel for your product, how people interact with it, so on and so forth. So the owning option, that leads to, there's a few of those, right? So you got the totally customized, then you got the WordPress world. The WordPress, Joomla is another one. There's another one, I think it's Muse from Adobe. Those are kind of like the popular ones. There were ones before, like people used to do the Dreamweaver, but come on, y'all. We don't mess with Dreamweaver unless we need to. But
we mainly use WordPress though.
Yeah, we mainly use WordPress because WordPress is kind of, in my opinion, it gives you the best of both worlds, right? You're going to have a little bit of that rental amenities included, features out the box type of scenario, but then you also have the ownership of your files. You have more flexibility. The platform has been out longer than all of the other options I talked about earlier. So it has a vast amount of plugins and add-ons and different things, which like those scenarios, you do incur some costs with some of those, but it does expand your situation to the degree where, you know, as you scale your business and you need more functionality, you need webinars and you need funnels and you need all these other things, you know, it's able to integrate, WordPress is able to integrate with all of that fancy stuff more so than, you know, the limited rental options. So, so I wanted to do this video just to first of all, just shed some light on the difference between the two. Because a lot of times, you know, I always get clients like, should I build it in you know, Squarespace? Should I build it in WordPress? Well, and I always have to go down the line and kind of explain the difference and allow, you know, the client to understand that, you know, if you building this business with vision in mind, then you want to set yourself up for success at the beginning. Yeah. You don't want to, you know, feel like you're getting a break, spend a little money, get your rental. You know, you're an infopreneur is what I call it. So you're a coach, you're a motivational speaker, you have informational products that you're getting out. You don't want to start in a Squarespace scenario where, you know, eventually you're going to need to have a members area. You're going to need to have a store, a funnel. You're going to need to have all these features. You don't want to start in a cookie cutter startup and then have to come back and spend more money for customizations. It's better to spend the money up front, use a WordPress scenario where you can have the best of two worlds, where you can have some of that, you know, templated theme type of experience where you can get your site up relatively quick, but then also, you know, it'll have the ability to expand beyond just the theme, right? It can grow to whatever you need it to grow to. That's what makes the WordPress system so powerful. So that's a long rant. Hope I didn't go too long on that, but yeah, those are the things you want, you know, consider when you look into hire a designer, a web designer, or do it yourself.
The branding geeks.
Yeah, you know, you want to know the difference, you know, and you want to make sure. I'm going to just outright, from a professional standpoint, I'm going to outright just say don't mess with links. And the reason why, there's several reasons. It's very limited in these examples I mentioned, but also from a professional standpoint, just being in the industry, you know, designers, we all talk, obviously, marketers, we talk. When we see that brand associated with you, it lets us know that you're not serious. And I'll just leave it at that. It's not, you know, it's no kick on Wix. I think it's a great startup. No, I don't think it's a great startup. Let me not say that. Yeah. I just don't think it warrants that professional brand that you all want to build. So I would avoid it if you can. And always feel free to reach out to us. You can email us at contact@thebrandinggeeks.com. Obviously hit us up on all our social platforms. And we'll definitely talk you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So before we go, you know, we always like leave it open for a few minutes, not even a few minutes, a few seconds for some questions.
If anyone did have any questions for us, it doesn't necessarily have to be about, you know, renting versus owning your website. If you have any branding questions in general, we would be happy to answer any of those. So we'll give you all a few seconds if you all did have any questions on that.
Yeah. But definitely, if you stopped, I appreciate you stopping by. You know, we're gonna stay with it. We're gonna stay every week. Wednesday, it just happened to be today, so
yeah,
we're gonna stay
midweek branding boost.
Yeah, I like that.
I have to say that on the spot.
All right.
Well, it doesn't look like we have any questions. Like Khalid the Geek said, if you do have any questions, feel free to hit us up. You can reach us at contact@thebrandinggeeks.com. Also, if you have any other further questions or you want to schedule with us for any of your designing or website needs, feel free to book your free graphic web consultation. The links are in our profiles. You can either contact us via Facebook or on Instagram. We're at The Branding Geeks on Instagram. So until next week, we hope you all have a better than ever week.
Yeah.
I'm declaring it to be productive for you all.
All right,
see you next week.
That's good.
Bye.